Guys, Jared from Wave to Wave, and we're outside right now at the shop, and we're going to take a look inside. This is episode 9. We've got a few things to cover. Just the floor's been cut at Akusa. We'll show you the details of that. We have the tank installed, and we'll show you a few things about that we did. From there, we'll talk about some of the hardware we have in stock, or we ordered and have. We changed our mind on the gauges, so we're actually going to send those back and get different gauges. I'll explain more about that a little later. But yeah, right now let's go inside the shop and take a look at the tank and the floor and a few other things.
Okay, looking inside the boat now, we can see the Kusa board sections that were cut. And the edges, I'll show you here, were angled and smoothed out so they fit perfectly against the hull. All the pieces lie flat and pieced together perfectly, so that's really good. You can see all the vents cut out. The tank itself is sitting on Divinicel closed cell foam, just a thin piece of that, and then encapsulated in high density marine expandable foam, and it's super secure, so the tank can't move anywhere. There's nowhere for it to go, and it'll be glassed in on top, and then there's a PVC tube underneath for drainage in case water to get to the front. Head of the front bulkhead there can drain right to the back. It'll be really solid. You see the front, we debated about the floor in the front, but the floor is fairly light. The Kusa is quite a bit lighter than plywood and makes more usable space up there. It makes it stronger, and just decided to go with the floor up front. The boat won't be a potato chip anyway, so it's totally fine to have a little extra weight. It's a really big tank. Probably could have gone even smaller in the tank, but you know, it works, and it'll be good for long range cruising and stuff like that. So
Okay, so we're back outside, obviously, and hopefully you can hear me. It's kind of windy out here. Looks like a storm coming. So originally we ordered standard size gauges to fill the dash, and we have a little bit different layout than the original. You can see the original as we filled it in. But the more I looked at it, I actually wanted to go with oversized gauges. And there's a few other issues. So we have Livorsi gauges, and we got the NMEA 2000 digital gauges. They're called Vantage View, and they're very cool. They look a lot like the original Livorsi gauges, but they do have a light ring around it, like a white little ring that goes inside the dial. And the problem with our look was going to be black on black. It'd be black rim with a black dial, and that didn't quite look what I thought it would look like. So that was my fault. I didn't really, research the Vantage View differences, and so the light ring is really cool because it's an LED surround light, so it's nice. But we just wanted to change it up a bit so you don't notice it as much. So we ordered oversized gauges now. They're going to be a platinum dial and a black rim, which I think will pop really nicely. And the boat's going to be silver. It's going to be like a sort of a darker toned silver. And so I think that's going to look really sharp. And it'll hide that white light ring dial around there. So that was the one hardware change we made so far. We do have a jack plate that we ordered. But again, I'll talk about that later once the engine gets set up, because that's a tricky thing about setting this one up, is I'm not sure how much step back we're going to run, but we do have a jack plate to try, so we'll use that. We're obviously far away from trying that yet, but anyways, that's the one hardware update, is the gauges. So they're great gauges. I'll send you some pictures, or post some pictures as soon as we get those in stock. And yeah, the big difference for me though is going to be is the layout too. So we're going to have a totally different layout than this, because we're only going to have some of the basic gauges. We're going to have a water pressure, trim gauge, jack plate gauge, some of the critical gauges like that, and we're going to have a speedometer and tack as the oversized ones as well. And these new gauges, they run off sort of a master tack, which has a digital readout with a bunch of different, information things on there. I think you can read out 3 at a time, and it can run 9 different things at a time or something like that on there. I'm not sure exactly, but the engine we chose also has a digital thing that's really cool, because we almost have to get it as well, because there's some features of that engine that are kind of neat. You can switch from your foot throttle to your hand throttle just with a click of a button. So we're probably going to put that here on this side. We're using like a smallest display possible that they sell with that, and then have the gauges here in a more of a staggered fashion. So we'll have the big gauges here, the tack, speedo, and then have the essentials beside that. So the layout will be quite a bit different. So that's one of the reasons why we changed as well. We wanted to go with the oversized gauges. The original gauges I posted were, like I said, those were standard size gauges. which are great in most setups, and they're probably fine in this dash too. But I think just for this layout, it's going to look way better with the oversize. And like I said, the color change was mostly just cosmetic. It was just the black on black. I still think would look amazing, but it just didn't have the with that light ring. It just changed the look of it. So that was the one change we made. Thanks for tuning in, and if you can, subscribe below and share the project with a friend if you know someone who's into boats or restorations or fast boats. Yeah, more subscribers the better. We got so much more to the project. Once it's finished, we're going to do a lot of testing and changing props and trying new things. So there's tons more there. We got some other exciting projects to share too. So yeah, share, subscribe, and we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.